SOA is based on three concepts. One is the services, another one is called as ESB, Enterprise Service Bus, and the third one is loose coupling, right? So we'll be discussing all these things in detail over here now. Okay, so now the loose coupling is, right, the dependency is very less. Okay, so that is called as a loose coupling. The thing is, now you are like in the Spring dependency injection, right? The setter based or the constructor based, you're passing the argument, okay, and you're getting the information, right? That is loose coupling, rather than creating the object inside the function itself, right? That is loose coupling. Now if you SOA has got policies and processes. For example, let's say the Yahoo is providing the weather forecasting report, okay, service on internet, then I'll be Yahoo will be having their own policies and processes, right? So that is like so their own policies and processes, in the sense, if for example, if I want to connect with Yahoo and get the weather forecasting, let's say I have developed one travel website, okay, and my customers want to know what is the temperature in that area in that period of time, right? Now since I don't have the expertise on that, what I will do is I will connect to Yahoo, okay, and I will provide the place, okay, time, okay, and so these are the two things. I will provide the input. Yahoo will return me the weather forecasting in that duration, right? So it may be for free, it may be as a paid service. Now what exactly how I will be connecting to Yahoo is through internet, right? Rather than doing it manually, I will be connecting to Yahoo over the web. Over the web, I'll be connecting to Yahoo. Okay, like I will. That is what Yahoo provides is a web service, right? On internet, they will provide a service. They will expose certain functions on the internet. So I will be talking to those functions over the internet, right? Rather than me going and manually checking the weather forecasting. My program will do the same thing rather than a manual intervention, that is the web services. Now, so Yahoo also will have certain policies, that is SOA, service oriented architecture, also will have certain rules and regulations. What are the rules and regulations? See, it might have like, one second, hold on please. Okay, it might have the rules and regulations is like, first what it will do, it will accept the request from the customer. Then it expects the customer to send the user ID and password information. If it is the valid user and password information is there, then what it will do, it will validate and it will authentication and authorization. Okay, like it will verify what facility the customer has got, right? Is it like single user, like or only one transaction per day or multiple transactions per day, and can I be like local only or international, any other, the rules and regulations for that particular customer, it will validate. Then if it is everything is fine, then the Yahoo will give the result, whatever it is expected, right? That is called the policies and processes. Every organization which provides the service will have their own policies and processes. Now, if you this is not only pertaining to SOA, this is pertaining to regular design also. For example, when you are developing some code, right, you should really look at what the customer policies and processes are, right? Then you should implement that also. You cannot ignore. You should go extra mile and look forward for the policies and process the customer is asking. Okay, the service is nothing but what the actual work is done by the project, right? As I given the example, sorry, Yahoo is providing the weather forecasting is a service, right? So Google is providing a mail support, Gmail, it's a service. Okay, Google Maps, it's providing the map of a given location, is a service. Anything which helps the user to make his or her life easier is a service provided by somebody else. The service could be for a cost or no cost, right? Okay, this is our service. Now you have to understand that SOA, service oriented architecture, is mainly depending on a service. What service it is providing, what service it is giving to the customer, how exactly it is easing or resolving the issue of the customer. Okay, these are the things. Now when you are implementing, okay, what I will do is I will draw a parallel line for your implementation along with SOA, right? SOA, okay, I'll tell you about that. Now when you are implementing some software, right, always you should look at, right, what service you are providing to the user, right? Initially I'll tell about myself, in the year 94, 95 till 2000, right? So I was just whatever my project manager asked me to develop, I used to develop and give. I never used to think what customer wants, what I am providing, nothing. They say you make a database connection, get me the records, put everything in a list and give it to me, or otherwise you give it to the UI people. UI people will render into the JSP and they will display it. That's it. All I used to say, okay, I used to fetch the data, I give it to them, that's all, my job is done. I'm not worried about what it is doing. They asked me to do something, I did. So I used to be like that. Later on, as and when the time started progressing, that I understood. It's not that I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do, but I'm providing a service. I used to ask myself what service I'm providing for these people. Right? So when you develop a software, you should always look at what service I'm providing, right? So many times in the design discussions, I used to convey to the customer this option would have been better, okay? Because I always look at what service I'm providing to the customer, how exactly it will benefit the customer. Right? So in the many design discussions, initial phase of the discussions, basically I used to develop one website with my team for a South African company. Okay, it used to have videos, audios, and everything. It used to be there. So I used to provide a lot of inputs to that person. The client used to be very happy. So okay, if that is permissible in your company, you should always make an attempt. What benefit I can give to the customer? Right? So, okay, now some of the additional attributes. Yeah, please look at this slide. You'll 30 seconds, you just look at it. Okay, so some of the features of the SOA services are, see, this is for the regular software engineering also. Basically, SOA is nothing but your project on a web. Okay, there is not much of a difference between SOA architecture and your object-oriented project on the web. It's absolutely the same. A different name is given. So in this class, I'll be talking more of a design, how exactly you can design your project. So when you design your project, right, it should be self-contained. I will compare initially with Yahoo. So self-contained in the sense, like, I will send the location to at which location I want the weather report and the date I want. So it is self-dependent in the sense, if I give, it will give me the response. It will not say 50% I'll give you, you go and search for somebody else, the rest of the 50%. No, that is not what I want. Right? It is self-contained. It might use some other services, but that is still fine. But when I give a request, it will respond me back with what output I want. Right? Abstraction. Right? Now, if you look at that is, see, abstraction is I will not know the implementation details. Right? It's a beautiful concept of object-oriented programming. Okay, so abstraction is I would not know what is the implementation details. All I will give to Yahoo service is the location and the date, and so what I will get is the temperature. That's it. How he is implementing, how is he doing, which service is looking, I don't know anything about it. That is an abstraction you should maintain. Right? Visibility of service is basically like, it should be spread in a word of mouth. It's basically like, if my service is good, and it will always spread. Even marketing is also required. Apart from that, word of mouth spreads very faster than marketing, because it will cut 10,000 times of a sales cycle. Somebody says it's very good, then the people trust and buy. Stateless. The thing is, see, in Flipkart, if you go, okay, if I select something, let's say wallet or something, your Flipkart doesn't store you clicked on wallet, you searched for wallet, and no, it doesn't store inside the database. Every small transaction, it will not store. Okay, the reason being, right, if million customers are coming, so if you store everything in every transaction in the database, then it will become like, server becomes very heavy. Okay, so it will maintain stateless. It is like if you click on something, okay, it will just look at it and respond back. Only if you on a certain situations, it's like, if you purchase, then probably it may store in the database. Right? Next is idempotent. That is, sometimes what happens, if it is not getting a proper response, if the data is not coming in a proper range, then it will resend the message again. Right? So that is idempotent. Now, additional attributes, some more reusable, composable, SLA, pre and post conditions, interoperability, and implemented as web services. 30 seconds I will give you. So please go through all the 6. The thing is, the component is reusable. That means if I have a weather forecasting service, if I'm Yahoo, so once I have written the Yahoo service, okay, many people, many clients can come and use the same functionality. It can be reused. Every time I need not modify the code for the customer unless until I have a requirement to modify. It is reusable. It is like functions. Composable. It is like, okay, as I said, a service can call another service as a business process and broken into small functionalities. It's like it's mixture of so many functionalities, right? One will call another. SLA, service level agreement. So SOA will have service level agreements. That means, right, I will have something like this. While making a contract with Yahoo, I would have signed a contract with them saying that out of 100 attempts, 98% I should get the response. 2% downtime is accessible. Anything beyond that, okay, you will be charged, penalty would be charged. That is a service level agreement I have. Yahoo would have said okay for that. Then next is pre and post conditions. The pre and post conditions is that okay, before getting the request, right? So this is how it is. After sending the request, this is what it should be, right? Yeah, that's what it is. See here, preconditions means customer would have come with some issues, and post condition is resolving the issue of the customer. It is like precondition is the customer, from Yahoo side, if you look, so they would have just given the requirement of the the location and the date, and they would not know the information. Post condition is after processing they will know the information also. That is the post condition. The expectation is that the temperature must be given after processing it. Okay, that is the expected output. That is a post condition. After processing, okay, what is the condition is you should get the results. You must get the results. Interoperability, it is like see, Yahoo service is provided. Okay, so maybe they have launched in Linux, right? So but my I have written my code, my web project in HTML in Windows, right? So I should be able to communicate to that. See, it is very easy. It is fine because the Windows machine can talk to Linux machine on web, right? It is a TCP/IP communication on port 8, so that port 80. So that is not a problem. Interoperability, right? Any machine can talk to any operating system. Okay, any system can talk to any system irrespective of the operating system or a hardware or anything. That is what is the interoperability. Then finally it is implemented as a web service, right? Now this is about the additional attributes of SOA. Now let's look at the same thing in terms of when you're writing a project, right? So when you're okay, if you look at from a design perspective, now if you're writing some application, it should be completely end to end. It is like this is what I am supposed to give. Okay, I will not say only portion of it. That is what your project design means. Abstraction is again client, you will not be giving a public functions and all. You will be giving the private functions, or you will not be providing implementation details. Now again, when it comes to statelessness, okay, you at the state time of design, right, you should see what you should store in the database, what you should store as part of the variable also, right, as part of the collection also. See, storage is it is good and bad, right? It is good when it is required, it is bad when you don't require but still you are storing it, right? So you should you should make a conscious decision what to store and what not to store, right? And again, as part of a memory management, can you make use of the same object rather than creating the objects in a loop, right? Idempotent, if it is required, you can do, right? In reusable components, yes, right? What you should do is, as part of the, once you write the function, once you write the code, right? So let's say like a developer will write the code and start submitting. No, that is not that. After that, you should look from a design perspective. Okay, the design perspective is number one. First, you should look at, okay, is my logic correct? Okay, after finishing, after completely code you are done, right? So it's working fine, right? Because what happens at first shot, if you fix the issue, right, you will not know, right? You will feel this is fine. Is my logic correct? Okay, can I implement, okay, a better logic? Okay, so that means can I write different for loop? Can I move the object outside? Can I have only one object? Can I make it better, right? Look from, okay, CPU side, okay, how much of the CPU it is consuming, right? And how much of the, okay, can I make it better, right? Look from memory perspective, okay, so how much of memory it is taking. Now, okay, is it possible that can I reduce the size of it? Can I take the user from the input? Rather, can I move the hard coding to a file? Right? So all these things, right? Then after that, look from bigger perspective in terms of future growth. Okay, future growth in the sense, now I'm giving this, like, can I leave some option for future growth in the sense, rather than hard coding, can I move that, like, variable to a file and I'll read the file. Okay, tomorrow if somebody wants to modify this, they can just modify the file, data in the file, and read it, right? Then if you are a web programming, then you should look at load. Okay, how much of load I can give it to my project. Okay, and if I give 100,000 customers, where exactly it is crashing. Okay, how much it can handle, right? Then, okay, so you have to look at the load and some of the negative conditions also. Okay, so robustness is what you should think of, right? So these are all, see, when you are, after you are done with the code, before you check in, 10 minutes if you spend asking these questions to yourself and look at it, you are already growing. Okay, the architect in you has already started, right? So never think that, like, everything will be bed of roses. That means, like, no problems will be there directly. Okay, you will be able to execute. In a client side, in a real-time scenario, a lot of negative conditions will come. Okay, is there any negative conditions I can handle in the code? Right? Is that what you should think? Like, I'm connecting with the database, right? So there could be many reasons database connection would fail. For example, network connection. Okay, database user ID password is wrong. Then in between there is a, like, lack of internet issues, or database server itself is down. Right? So there are, see, you should think of these things. See, design is all thinking about the project and making more robust and thinking from a bigger perspective, right? What else I can accommodate to make my project strong is design, right? And like, see, you should always, if I don't know whether I'm just giving you the right things in the sense you are able to understand or not, but from a design perspective, right, you should leave some space for the future growth. For example, right, when you're constructing a house, you are taken a site and you have constructed 2 floors. Now you will leave some space so that in future you will construct for a 3rd floor and 4th floor also, right? Thinking from that, you may not construct at that time, but you will think. Okay, in case in future if I construct the 3rd floor or a 4th floor, this will be a good idea. Right now I will leave as a, like, balcony, okay, or the empty floor, but in case if I feel, like, make it, will be good for me.